Hi there, this is Katy here. I apologize if there's background noise again. I'm doing this in my bathroom and my neighbors are making some noise again. It's a good segue into my topic for this video, which is anger and processing anger. This video is going to be more kind of just me venting, but I'm going to try to consistently talk about healing and tools and coping throughout it, as that is all stuff I'm trying to do right now. So we can start with the neighbors. I have these upstairs neighbors that consistently have made serious noise since they moved into this place. Most prominent of which has been extremely loud, obnoxious, and repulsive sex at all hours of the night, which has thankfully mostly stopped since some people started howling at them from down the street when they had their window open. But they continue to drop things. It sounds like pianos falling, and it will vibrate the entire apartment, beneath them being ours. Again, at all hours of the night. I am no stranger to terrible roommates, and as these people are not actually in my room, I am mostly chill about it because I've had to deal with these sorts of things in my own room, having shared living arrangements with people I did not want to be living with. So coming from it being much worse, coming from the street, I'm pretty chill, but it does get tiresome. Another big source of anger for me right now, something that just happened, but it's a general source of frustration. Being harassed by wealthy, white, yuppie types on the street. It's never fun. To those who have the unfortunate predicament of being in any demographic other than that, you probably know what it is to be harassed by them. I may be white, but I'm queer and poor, and I dress in certain ways that attract negative attention from people like that, as in people who, people like that. Today, my partner and I were walking down the street in our neighborhood, and we were walking past this really yuppie wine bar type place where all these really wealthy, arrogant, drunk, white people hang out. And some of them started laughing at us, basically, and I wasn't really paying attention, but my partner was paying more attention and told me more of what happened. They apparently motioned, a couple of them motioned to each other, one of them motioned to the other, and told them to pay attention, to look at us, walking down the street. And someone was apparently taking a video of us, I assume to make fun of us, because we apparently looked so outlandish. You can see what I'm wearing here. I'm dressed kind of like I don't even know what to call it. This is what I'm wearing. And I'm wearing shiny red Converse-like shoes. And my partner is a person of color with an eye patch and tattoos. And he wasn't exactly punked out today. He was dressed pretty normally, but he was wearing a punk band t-shirt and some sweatpants and track pants. And, yeah, he looked pretty disheveled, and I look really casual. We're certainly not rich white yuppies, but we looked pretty normal. Both of us in our pasts dressed extremely outlandishly and got a lot of negative attention on the street. And now, by both our standards, we dress really normally. And it's really astounding to me when people treat us like we're some kind of spectacle. I understand that we're an interracial couple in an extremely white, conservative town. And there are a lot of wealthy people who look down on anyone who doesn't look as rich as they do. And I understand that, I do. But it still baffles me when people react that way, when people make such a spectacle, of a slightly disheveled looking casual interracial couple. So that gets me really angry. It really, really does. I suffered a lot in Texas with street harassment, looking queer, and now I recognize that I still do set a lot of people's gaydar off, but fucking smoke detector is going off again. I'm sorry. I recognize, that I still very much set off people's gaydar, but one of the good things about moving out of Texas and moving to California, where I'm at right now, is not facing so much harassment for being LGBT, at least not in the areas I've been. Even in this area, which is conservative, nobody has given me shit, mostly because I mostly go out with my partner, who is male. But I have a lot of trauma. I get really traumatized. Somebody threw a Dr. Pepper can at me the other day here, just a couple weeks ago. I was walking to the library, and they threw an open can of Dr. Pepper at me, and it exploded at my feet, and thankfully did not get really on me, but it was violent. It fucking pisses me off, pisses me off. And when my partner and I were homeless together in the last town we were in, there was basically class warfare going on there between the wealthy and the poor, really from the wealthy against the poor, I think all that bullshit about how, the homeless were, victimizing the wealthy just by being there. I really think it was just by us being there. Yeah, there were tweakers and junkies, and there was some crime, that went with it. But most of the time, the victimization that the wealthy thought was being done to them by the homeless was just the homeless being there. Because I got yelled at like I was persecuting people just by walking down the street. I could hear the victimization in people's voices as they screamed things at me. They'd already decided they were the victim here, and they were only defending themselves from my existence by getting involved with me and being violent towards me when I was completely minding my own business and not bothering them at all. So I get pretty sick of that shit, and that's a really common thing if you're a member of any kind of marginalized community, to be treated like you are victimizing others by existing, by asking for anything, that by existing you are implicitly asking for some kind of place in this society, which you may or may not actually be doing, but you are at least perhaps asking for food or shelter or some kind of assistance. And if you are, just perceived to be in need, you're looked at like a societal burden, and you're looked at like you're hurting, Oh, these poor wealthy people having to pay taxes, 0.0001% of their taxes for you, That donut you ate this morning cost them a fraction of a penny, and they're very angry about it. You hurt them. I get sick of that shit. I really, really do. I get sick of that attitude here. So those are some things that are making me angry. This morning I was actually going to record a video about some anger that was coming up for me towards my mother, with whom I have no contact. But of course, the wounds from having a narcissistic mother may never heal. It was interesting. I mentioned a smoke detector. I was going to make the video as inspired by a conversation I was having with my partner about smoke detectors, because they've been going off in nearby apartments here lately. And I remembered an incident with my narcissistic mother where I was maybe 16, 17, I think 16. I sent her a meme of a smoke detector with a funny caption. It was something like, "Making dinner, ? Let me sing you the song of my people." And, the idea was it's mocking you. The smoke detector's mocking you. It was funny, and I figure most people will get it. Most people would get it, especially younger people who understand what memes are. And I get that my mother didn't spend much time on that part of the internet, so she might not know what that means. But I sent it to her, as kind of a joke to her, because she was constantly She was constantly getting drunk or nodding out. Hold on, I have to unplug my phone. Sorry. She was constantly getting drunk or nodding out while cooking. And the smoke detector would go off because she would burn the food. And so it was a thing in our house that the smoke detector was always going off because she was always burning the food. So I said that to her as a joke. You know, it was actually amicable, you know, as much humor as I could put into the subject of her addiction and alcoholism. I did. So anyways, she didn't get it. She did not understand the joke, apparently. And I don't remember what she said to me over text. She questioned it, like, you know, what? That doesn't make sense, or you're not making sense. You know, she was alarmed. She said something to me. I don't remember what conversation I had with her about it at the time. But then I found out that she went to my partner at the time, my boyfriend. I think I was still seeing him at this point. I think we might have been soon to break up. But she contacted him, and she told him that I was having some kind of psychotic break, and that she was extremely worried about me and didn't know what to do. I sent her this thing that didn't make any sense. And then she sent him a picture, the meme, you know, and my boyfriend at the time understood and thought it was really bizarre and fucked up and told me what she'd done, you know. But I have this vague recollection, it's pretty hazy, you know, during that time, you know, of her then going, you know, on and continuing to assert that I made no sense and continuing to assert that I was insane because I sent her this picture that made no sense. And, you know, the lady was obviously fucking wasted, you know, as well as narcissistic. But she would do that sort of thing all the time. You know, I would say, I'd make a joke and she wouldn't get it, and then she would go ballistic, or she would accuse me of being crazy and not making sense. Like, she literally didn't have a sense of humor. Like, it went beyond her just not getting that single joke. She had no sense of humor. I remember watching her fake laugh when she was too drunk or high to pull it off properly. And so everyone would be laughing at a joke that she wouldn't get. And she would see that people were laughing and she was too high to properly respond. So she'd just go, like that. Literally like that. That was really grotesque watching myself do that. That was my best imitation of her. It was painful. It was really, really painful watching that. And I just remember all of the bizarre episodes, you know, bizarre behavior from her around the subject of humor. And, you know, that's just one source of anger I have around my mother. It just goes endlessly deep. That's just tip of the iceberg stuff, you know. But it's a pretty big thing, you know. I look at all the horrible traumas that I endured with my mother, and I